Over the weekend, couple Pete Davidson and Kim Kardashian made several public appearances at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in the Met Gala. Previously, Davidson revealed that he had gotten several tattoos dedicated to his girlfriend, but now it appears that Davidson has gotten several more tattoos that says KNSCP. Many speculate this stands for Kim and her 4 children with Kanye, North, Saint, Chicago, and Psalm. Comedian Hughley, who has criticized Kanye in the past for his threats towards Pete, has surprisingly come to the defense of Kanye. TMZ caught up with Hughley and asked if he had thought of Pete's actions were crossing the line. Today we got our comedy hype analysts, Vanessa Fraction, Capone, and Pierre calling in to give their reactions. But first, let's take a look at this clip.
It's his body, it's his woman, those are Kanye's kids.
Yeah.
That would piss me off. It's none of my business, but if you tattooed my kid's name on your neck, I'd have something to say about it. Listen, nobody's telling you can't live your life. That's your woman, you have a good time. But you putting that man's kids on your neck, that's antagonizing.
Now, I know we touched on this a little bit, and Pierre, I'll come to you because I know we kind of talked about it, but what are your thoughts? Do you agree with DL? Do you feel like, Pete is provoking Kanye with these tattoos?
Well, DL's talking like a rational person. This is an irrational relationship. They're having fun. They're acting foolish. Yeah, you're right. Putting my kid's name on your neck would make me feel a certain way. But that whole clan, the Kardashian clan and Pete Davidson, all that, and Kanye is all a wild thing. You're putting rational to irrational situations. So I'm surprised, I'm not surprised what they do. So, is Kanye mad now? Look what Kanye did, was somebody cut someone's head off. It's a wild bunch of things happening with all of them. So if a rational person would be upset. That crew there, I don't know what's going to happen. It's what it is. I'm surprised, I'm surprised Pete and Kanye ain't sleeping with each other. Shit, there's all kind of craziness going on with that.
Capone, let me bring you in on this. What's your reaction? Do you agree with DL? Do you feel like, Pete is provoking Kanye at this point with these tattoos?
I know I would beat Pete's ass. That's just my answer to it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it or nothing. And he needs an ass whooping. And that's just the bottom line. Like Pierre says, is a very, very unstable situation. But at the same time, the disrespect is a little too blatant for me.
No, absolutely. I know that a lot of people feel that way as well. Vanessa, I want to get your thoughts on this. What are your reactions to it? Do you agree with DL, or just what are your thoughts on it?
Oh, I thought that I thought it was ridiculous. I couldn't believe he did that. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's an unnecessary move. I think it's immature. I guess maybe trying to think positive. Maybe it's not the kids' names. Maybe it stands for keep necessary self-care private. I don't know. Maybe it's an acronym, you know what I'm saying, for something. But I could see very much why Kanye would be upset. I think it is antagonizing. And I probably, honestly, if a dude did that, we only been dating 6 months, I would think that there was something mentally wrong with you and I would probably leave you. You're not a good decision maker. Why are you putting something permanent, on your neck? And even though I know he's on this commercial where he removes his tattoos, but either way, it's like, are you going to have that removed later? Like, what's the seriousness of this whole thing? And why are you playing with my kids and playing with their father and so forth and so on? I find it immature.
Right, and I think you bring up 2 great points that I feel like a lot of people have touched on as well, Vanessa. They've only been together for 6 months, and when you're looking at the age gap, Kim is 41, where Pete is 28. So, Pierre, I want to bring this question to you, having those things in mind. Do you think, Kim has allowed Pete to get too close to her children too soon, being that, there is such a huge age gap, and then as well, they only been together for 6 months? Pierre, I'll start with you.
Again, let me harp back on what Vanessa just said about him putting something permanently on his neck that belongs to, Kim. Well, she said her, but we'll put it in Kim. Kim should maybe leave him for that. Remember, Kim Kardashian took something permanent into her from Kanye that wanted being permanent called kids, and he crazy as hell. So she's used to dealing with craziness, okay? So that ain't surprising me. Neck tattoos, him giving a baby. It's a wild bunch of situations going on. It's just crazy amongst themselves. Her age, his age, it don't make a difference. This is what we watch. This is what we like. We're putting rational thought process in an irrational community amongst them. You know what I'm saying? You're right. Things are wrong that they do, but Kanye going up, grabbing a microphone off of someone's head, off someone's hand in a video board is crazy. Having somebody's head decapitated in a video, that's crazy. Like, why are we acting like, whoa, why are we trying to make it make sense? It's just not gonna make sense with them. You know what I'm saying? So we're trying to make something make sense that does not gonna make sense.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people just want it to make sense because there are children involved. You know, the adults I understand, but I think because children are now, you know, involved in that situation, I think that could be the reason. I want to bring you in, Capone, and get your thoughts on that as well. What do you think? Do you think, you know, Kim has kind of brought Pete into, you know, around her kids a little too soon, being that they have only been together for 6 months, and that there is, you know, that age gap between the two?
People are calling Kanye crazy, and now they're probably looking at Pete crazy. Kim has been crazy.
Right.
Kim does anything for public publicity. You think those sex tapes just leaked out and you know, she go from man to man publicly. You know, publicly. She does things publicly for attention. And this has been something that's been going on for years, and everybody think that's because the last name Kardashian is something that this is all right. If this was another person or somebody from the hood, they would be called all kinds of hoes and all kinds of stuff. But with her, it's just, oh, Kim is this and Kim is that. Kim is just as cracker barrel crazy as the rest of them.
Yeah, and I think they even have this thing where they call it the Kardashian curse, where, you know, when people date them, things typically turn out like this.
That happens. You get on drugs, you turn into a woman. All that has been happening. Yes.
Vanessa, let me bring you in on this, Vanessa, because I know you kind of touched on it as well. What are your thoughts? Do you feel like Kim, you know, brought Pete around her kids a little too soon, being that they have only been together for 6 months?
Well, first, I don't really like to say what somebody should and shouldn't do. And back to what Pierre said, I didn't say Kim should leave him. I said I would leave him because, you know what I mean? Like, you're not showing stable decision making and things that make sense for the time period that we've been together. As far as too soon, I know people that have got married in 6 months, you know what I'm saying? And it worked. So I can't tell anybody about too soon. I would say with all the discourse going on, I probably would have waited. And then knowing, you know, her public history of dating, why introduce someone to your children that may or may not be around that much? I will point out that being in the entertainment industry and having a lot of people around, my children met, you know, different people. You don't know who I'm dating and who I'm not. You just meet people. There might be people that are in your life where you're like, oh, this is a nice person, blah, blah, blah. And I know them from whatever. So I can't speak to, you know what I'm saying, what she's doing. But again, I gave an example that kind of doesn't make sense because she publicly is with this person. You know what I mean? So it's no secret that you guys are together. And I just think that sometimes that can be a bit uncomfortable for children, as, you know what I mean? Because who's next? Who's the next person? You know what I mean? And then how close are y'all? Y'all taking car rides together and chilling and you picking them up from school? Like, what is this conversation of mom's friends and, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. So, you know, looking at this, whether it's, you know, your situation or someone else's, are there certain boundaries that should be, you know, put in place when parents are dating, you know, other people and they have children? Capone, I'll start with you. You know, if you're dating someone and you have children, are there certain boundaries that you feel like should be put in place, whether, you know, you're publicly dating someone or, you know, in secret or what have you? But do you think there are certain boundaries? And if so, what are some of those?
I think that you should set boundaries for anybody coming around your kids. That's one. I don't want to meet nobody's kids until I am sure that this is going to be some type of, you know, lasting relationship. And I don't want people around my kids. You know, it's sad that people don't protect the children the way that they used to. You know, even back in the days when my mother was doing whatever she was doing, we didn't meet no man. We knew who our father was or whatever the situation is. And she went off and snuck and did what she had to do. And I just feel that Kim, you know, with this situation, just allowing this stuff to happen is really crazy, you know, and it's sad because anybody who cares about children, because I experienced it. And I'm gonna just say that, you know, when me and one of my children, my daughter's mother broke up, she specifically told my daughter, you know, you don't have to worry about your father, my new husband, to take care of whatever you need to take care of. So, you know, it's a sad situation, but in reality, it does happen to people. And I didn't like that at all because I'm not a bad father.
Right.
Vanessa, let me bring you back in on this one. What do you think? And I know you say, you can't necessarily speak to that situation, but just as a whole, as a parent, do you think there are certain boundaries that should be in place when you are dating and you have children at home? And if so, what are some of those?
Yes, there are definitely some boundaries that you have to, that I think that you should put into place. I think close to what Capone had said was that, and again, each situation could be different or what have you. Sometimes there might be a person in your life that is a good, I know this might sound a little strange because we're talking quickly, but there might be a good mentor or somebody that's still a good person that you might have dealt with in the past or something like that. I think it's up to you. The big word is protect, 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 whether that's man, woman, that you have around your children, as well as their emotional stability. And you want to keep down as much confusion as possible, I guess, is one thing that I would say. So I personally wouldn't be quick to introduce anybody, what I mean? Unless I know, as Capone just said, that it's going to be a little bit more serious or what have you, or this is the relationship that I would like to establish with this person or whatever, moving forward with my children.
Right.
I just don't think it's necessary because I barely know you. I'm getting to know you. And I wouldn't want to involve my children in that getting to know you.
Absolutely. Now, Pierre, I want to bring you in now. I know you said this is a chaotic situation. I think we're kind of seeing that unfold. But even in these situations and others, do you feel like there should be boundaries, put in place? And if so, what are some of those if it hasn't already, been spoken?
Well, I agree with Vanessa and Capone wholeheartedly. But again, we're talking about a family that gets videotaped every move they make. It's not the normal family. The people who are watching this show right now, you're not that type of family. Your family is structured probably better. That family has been like that for the longest time. Them kids growing up, seeing different men, they saw Chloe with different men. They saw what Travis Scott coming through. They saw Lamar Odom, Rob Kardashian had people. They are around that all the time, seeing new adults around their life. It's not new. It's not like most people who are watching the show where I don't bring a man around my children, a woman around my child, but that's normal. Okay, but this family here is what they do. They do that all the time. It's not, them kids meeting Pete Davidson ain't like, you can't see him too quickly. Their whole family gets tossed and turned and changed. Them kids grow up in that environment. Now, are we saying that down the line, will they be jaded and messed up? Well, only time will tell, but they grew up in that kind of scenario. Right. That's the situation they grew up with. So they might be used to it, seeing a new man come through the house, a new woman come through the house. They might, okay, it's Uncle Pete, Uncle so-and-so. So who are we to say it's wrong? It's working for them. Right.
So let me ask you this, Pierre. Do you think at this point, some of the things that we see unfolding, that Kanye's actions are, justified, being that now we're seeing these things from Pete? Go ahead. No. Because before Pete came in the picture, we talked about how Kanye was mentally unstable. So let's not act like he's cracking up right now. But some of the stuff, when he was with Trump, y'all didn't like that, man. He was with Trump, shut up. When he jumped and grabbed that mic from Taylor Swift, y'all, he's crazy. He's done some crazy stuff before. Now let's not act like the white boy's involved. Now suddenly, he drove him to the edge of the thing. Kanye been off the rocker for a while. That's why we watch and enjoy his antics. Let's be real. That's what it is. So no, Pete Davidson is just what it is. The white boy, that's just, yeah. Let me come to you, Capone, before we close out. Looking at the situation in totality, I think it's easy where you can, find places that you may be able to relate to, especially as a father. If you were Kanye in this situation with everything that's unfolded at this point, what is something that you feel like you would do at this point? What would be your next step if you were Kanye in this situation, Capone?
Let me say this very clearly. I would whip Pete's ass, not because of Kim, but the disrespect of my children. I've been in situations where I broke up and a woman was with another man and me and the other man became cool. I'm not knocking that. As an adult, as somebody who's sane, you have to understand you don't own nobody. People can make these decisions. But when you cross the line of the children, that's a very, very great recipe to get your ass whipped.
Let me ask you a question. Is it disrespecting the kids or disrespecting the father?
Disrespecting the family. It's disrespecting the family.
No,
period.
The father. No.
Period.
It's not disrespecting the kids.
Of course it is.
How is it?
Of course it is.
How is it?
My kids would not, at that age, would not know about no tattoo. And what would be the purpose of doing that anyway, unless you're antagonizing the family, period. Kim is an asshole, bottom line, to allow that.
Right.
Any woman that would allow, I don't care what you're going through with an ex or whatever, you don't allow no man to just disrespect
the father of your children.
Exactly.
So, hold on, the father. I agree with that. The father, yes, but not the children.
Well, I'm the one who's
well, I'm not
about
understanding. Right. I was about to say, as a child, why is my name on a grown man's neck? I would have questions about. Or
well, you know what? Some kids are like that. Like, oh, my name's on your neck. That's cool. They're not saying, oh, you disrespecting me.
I mean, that doesn't. I mean, just because they would maybe feel, oh, that's cool, doesn't mean that it isn't disrespectful.
I don't even think that that's cool. The mother should have stepped in and be like, don't do that.
I can agree with that.
He showed up with it though. He showed up and said, "Look at this, baby."
Yeah, because he's a goddamn.
And that's why I said, and that's when I would leave. I'd be like, and you know what? You're doing too much, baby.
Yeah. I can say disrespecting the mother, maybe, or definitely the father. You know, he can feel disrespected, but I don't. Okay, all right, we just have a different opinion.
No, absolutely. And I appreciate y'all. That was going to be my next question. So I think y'all, dove right into that one where, there are a lot of people that kind of feel different ways about who's being disrespected. But I think being able to hear from everybody and hear those different perspectives definitely, adds value to this conversation. So as always, I appreciate y'all for chiming in and calling into the show. But you heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Pete Davidson getting the tattoo of children of Kanye and Kim on his neck? For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.